Hello, this is Miss Woolley, and this video is intended to explain to our Year 11 students and their parents and carers how to use the revision resources that we have supplied in English. All students have an orange revision book, and the tasks I'm going to describe in this video can be completed in this book. Students also have an English literature revision booklet, as you can see in front of you on the video, and an English language revision booklet as well. These will guide students in their revision at home. There is a flight plan, a list of topics that we expect students to cover on a weekly basis between now and the exams. When a student is told, for example, to revise an inspector calls and language paper 2, these booklets will help them complete that task. The booklets work on the principle of splitting revision up into two distinct sections. Firstly, preparing to revise. Preparing to revise means making revision resources, things like flashcards, mind maps, etc., that contain the knowledge students require. Many students feel they have revised once they have made those resources. However, there's an important second step, which is using those resources over and over again in order to embed the knowledge in their minds so they can remember it in the exam. I'll show you an example of this in practice. Looking at the literature revision booklet, you can see it's split up into each of the topics that we study in GCSE English literature. To study Macbeth, we return to page 2. And this page is split up into the two sections I've just described. Firstly, preparing to revise. These are the tasks students should complete to make sure they have revision resources ready and available. This includes plot summaries, revision cards for key quotations, mind maps about characters, and mind maps about themes. Once those resources are in place, students can then focus on actually revising, and this is the repetitive revision, going back consistently to topics, especially the topics that students feel least confident on, in order to secure that knowledge. For example, if a student is not sure about the characters in Macbeth, who they are and how they relate to one another, they may choose from this column, what you want to revise, the characters. And they are then given a task to complete. Use the blank character map on page 7, draw lines between all of the characters that are connected to one another, and on the line explain how the characters are connected. Now, a student will be able to complete this task because they've prepared for their revision and have their mind maps and note pages for the characters completed earlier on. So that fundamental principle of preparing to revise, creating your resources, and then using them underpins the revision for both literature and language. The rest of the booklet is full of resources students can use to complete the tasks outlined on the page I've just shown you. So every topic for literature has a page like this, which contains information on how to prepare and how to actually revise. Then following on are some resources students can use to help them. The same format is followed in the English language revision booklet, and I'm especially keen to emphasise that you can revise for English language. It's a myth that you cannot, and our students have got no reason to feel they can't revise for the subject because this booklet explains how to do it step by step. The very first thing in this English language revision booklet is a list of key terms that apply to both papers that students will sit. So they need to make revision notes or revision cards of the terms outlined on this page. Once they've done that, they will have prepared to revise and they can move on to the actual revision of each paper. Looking at language paper 1, here are the list of things students need to understand and be able to do. So just like with Macbeth, a student would read this list and decide on something they personally need to revise. For example, how to answer question 4, the evaluation question. They then have instructions, read the success criteria on page 8, read the passage on page 8, highlight the 3 most useful quotations, annotate them, and then plan an answer to the question, making sure it meets those success criteria they have just examined. So the principle of both booklets is exactly the same. We provide students with highly guided, very specific tasks that they can complete in order to be prepared for their English exams. If there are any questions about English revision whatsoever, the first port of call should be the English teacher. And of course, I am able and willing to answer any questions as well.